We're recording and we're live. We'll start the meeting with the pledge of the flag.
Oh, I don't have my flag. Oh, here it is.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Welcome everybody to the June 3rd, 2021 Village Board meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the Village Board meeting minutes from May 20th, 2021?
Move.
Andy?
Second.
Got a second? Any questions, changes? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have nobody from the citizenry that signed on, so we go to trustees' comments. We'll start with Mark Wilder.
Muted, Mark.
Yeah, I clicked on that 3 times. Now I'm unmuted. I know, I'm not sure if Megan's going to bring this up or not, but we had talked about the possibility of getting together in person at our DPW committee meetings. And I know Megan had mentioned possibly having these board meetings become in person again. So I just would be interested in a discussion at some point on whether we want to move in that direction or not.
Okay,
Other than that, I'll stick to the agenda items.
sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
By the way, I do need to request a short executive session for this evening.
Okay. Can you give me a reason?
It's just a very quick update on the contract issue.
Okay. That'll be item G. All right. Okay, got you down here. All right, Andy.
I just had some initial conversations with Brookfield Power. Was at your request. That I chase them down and see what their offer is for power supply for the village. There's some rumors that they wanted to donate a generator's worth of power, something like that. It's not how it works. But I did talk to some people in the big place. They're a $50 billion corporation. It's not just a real power plant in Baldwinsville. They sell power all the time, wholesale markets. Municipalities are one of their sources. So we're going to put some numbers together and give me a call, hopefully in the next week or so.
Good. That's great. Thanks, Andy. Mike Shepard.
I think I know why Megan wanted to have the meeting in person, because we're missing out on birthday cake tonight. I want to be the first person to wish Megan a happy birthday. Other than that, missing the cake, I will stick with the agenda.
Okay. And we'll move to the birthday girl, Megan.
Thank you, Michael. That was not my main goal. I just think it would be.
It was mine. Sorry, it was my goal.
Yeah, break thing. I don't mean to hurry, but I'm in a meeting here. But I just wanted to make sure that nothing's booked till we get big up tomorrow.
Chuck.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Did you leave
Mark said-
Hey, Chuck, can you mute your computer?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. We had a problem. We had a problem over on Downer Street.
Okay.
Why did that feedback?
Well, it was just loud.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Megan, did you finish?
Yeah, I would just, like Mark said, I think, a discussion on when it's appropriate for us to start meeting in person and opening up Village Hall to the public again is appropriate to start discussing. But other than that, I'll stick to the agenda.
Okay. Ruth Seco.
Just happy birthday, Megan, and the agenda is good with me.
And Bruce Stebbins.
I'm looking at an email from somebody named Nathaniel Houghton with SOOFA, SOOFA, who says he's getting back in touch with me from 3 months ago about signs and pedestrian activities that have been proposed. I've never heard of the guy. So I don't know if something's been referred to me. So I thought I would mention that in front of you, Mayor. The other thing is I want to announce that unless something stops us, the next DPW meeting is going to be an in-person one on the 17th. Either in Village Hall or some other one of the village facilities. Chuck's gonna try and get one of the engineers there, sit down and talk with us. And we kind of feel a need for us to get back together.
Okay. Fair
So
enough.
we'll get a location out to Mo before it happens, so it can be posted.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh.
What? What did you say?
I just said, is there anything, you got anything else?
No, the agenda's fine.
I
Okay.
was just gonna say from the agenda, we had talked about putting item F under new business before D and E
Oh, okay.
at Chuck's request.
Move F ahead of D and G. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. If anybody else does, speak up or forever hold your peace. Okay, I got a few things just to let the public know. We have signed on with an engineering firm. Their spokesperson has been in the village, met with Chuck and did a tour of all of our facilities. He wanted to know where everything was and what we had in the way of water and buildings, and so when he has to answer a question or do something, he has at least a little familiarity with what he's talking about, and I appreciated that. We are probably going to have to do something sooner rather than later regarding the cannabis issue. I would like input from all of you on your take. I mean, we have I think there's basically 4 options that we can consider. Option A being we would allow sales and use in the village. Item B, we would allow just sales. Item C, we would allow just use. And item D, I would guess we would say we don't want any of them. I don't know where any of you stand. I'd like to have an idea. I've had at least one business say that they would like to be involved when we have a discussion. So, Bob, if you can lay out for me what the steps that we need to do. I know we probably have to have a public hearing before we vote, that type of thing.
Yeah, I'll get an outline out.
Okay. And, everybody's probably going to have some differing opinions to some degree. Some of you may agree completely. And I would ask the public, people that are out there, to send me an email on my village email or send a letter with your thoughts, whether you have concerns, whether you're excited. Give us some sort of a feel for what the public thinks. You ask us to represent you, and it'd be nice to know what's going through your head with this discussion. I think there's a date in November that we have to have taken an official stand on what we're going to do and make it known to the state. I don't think whatever we do will go into effect immediately. I think they're talking a couple of years before all this stuff can go into effect, but the state, I think, wants to have a grip on who all is being involved at what level. Before I forget, I need an executive session too, so we'll make it item H, and this will be a personnel matter. Should be a relatively short discussion. I got an email again from Jenny Russell from the carp people. They had a great carp tournament. They were thrilled, as always, with the having access to the fishing banks along our part of the river. People who fished had nothing but good things to say. They're really, really concerned about out-of-state harvesters being here now after they've brought the carp in closer to shore and now catching the carp and putting them in tanks and taking them back to their state, putting them in lakes and then charging people to fish for carp. And they're only taking the big carps. And so she's concerned that, I don't know, are you carps or is plural carp? Anyways, they're taking big fish out of our river and taking them someplace else. And she thinks it's going to deplete the fishery. I sent it on to Senator Mannion and said, is there anything we can do? Could we declare this fishery some sort of a state protected area that people cannot come in and fish and take the fish out and remove them? I've had already sent it to Barkley, and she has approached Barkley. So if you have any concerns in those areas, let me know. And
It was in the news today, and Barkley has proposed a 10 fish limit to cross state lines, trying to push DEC to do something.
okay, I didn't see the news, so that's good to hear.
Is there any additional feedback on where they're harvesting these fish? I mean, they're out on the river in some type of boats, essentially.
Primarily at the they fish and catch them, just like the tournament, but primarily down the land. The guy that has the airport, I can't think of his name.
Oh, Duke Strachey?
Yeah, his property's where they set up,
And then they,
according to the report I read.
because the carp tournament, it's a catch and release. And so if you catch a 30-pounder, you put it back, that 30-pounder will be there next year when they fish. Well, if these guys come in and take all the big fish out, eventually they're going to start catching 15-pound carp, because that's all that's going to be left. And so they're concerned, and I don't blame them. I told them I would do, if they need me to write letters or whatever. I forwarded email to Barkley. I forwarded an email to Mannion. That's gotten it started. I'll send one to Magnarelli and see what goes from there. Speaking of our political people, I did get notes, and Bob saw too, the Assembly passed the new legislation to allow us to use our sewer funds for other infrastructure uses, and the Senate has passed it. It hasn't been signed by the governor, but we're closer, and then we'll have 1 year where we can use that money for other uses, and I think we can get things straightened out in a year. So good news. I appreciate our legislators taking care of us. I got a note from Claude that the Thruway Authority sent him a note that the Canton Street Bridge will be preserved. They'll rebuild it. They're going to tear it down, but put a new one in instead of taking it out completely, which was the fear. It was a strong outpouring from all levels of government locally, the county, the local legislators, the town, us as a village. A lot of residents got involved, and sometimes the squeaky wheel does get a little grease. They hear enough people explain what the concerns are, and fortunately they ran with it, and it's going to save that bridge. Well, it's not going to save that bridge, but it's going to always have a bridge there. So that was good news. I was pleased to be involved along with the chief and the lieutenant on Saturday with a Memorial Day observance. We didn't have a parade, but we didn't forget our fallen heroes. We were at the post office at that monument, went to the bridge. The commander, the VFW, and the American Legion dropped a wreath of flowers into the river to float down as a memory for the fallen. We went to St. Mary's Cemetery, had an observance there. Went to Riverview Cemetery, had an observance there. It was very nice. And the emphasis, as always, was this is not to honor veterans. This is to honor people who died protecting our country. So it was very nice. And I was pleased to be with our two police leaders to make it a nice ceremony. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I think I got it all. I didn't forget executive session, that's scheduled. So we will move on to the regular agenda. Pending business. Oh, no, we're on with our department heads. I'm sorry. Our attorney, Bob.
Just one comment, and that is that in the discussion for open meetings, the suspension of the open meetings law has been extended through June 24th. So as part of the discussion, at least until June 24th, we can have virtual meetings. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm not saying that it's necessary, it's certainly not required, but it may be at that time that that the suspension will no longer be in effect. But I just want to let everybody know that it is at least in effect until June 24th by the most recent executive order out of Albany. But other than that, I'll stick with the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Code officer's not here. I asked him if he had anything to present. His comment was, the price of lumber is outrageous, but people are still building. So I'm assuming he's getting requests for building permits despite the lumber being, I mean, it's crazy. If any of you have done any projects, you know. Plywood, 2x4s, is like doubled and tripled in cost, which gets reflected in the cost of your project. Obviously, if you're building a house, it gets quite expensive. And that's all Greg had to offer. Village Clerk, Mo.
All right, I just wanted to reiterate that Village Hall, the doors are still locked, but there is a bell right outside. So if you need to come in for any reason, just let us know. And we are, people have been coming into the building to take care of various things. I also wanted to ask Mike Shepard if he's talked to Chuck.
I have not talked to Chuck. Has anything happened since I haven't talked to him? Has
No.
None of the refunds and all that stuff?
No, it's still listed on e-tickets, so no one can get a refund at this point because it still shows that concerts are happening at the island. So if you could just check that out, that would be great. The only other thing is, the clerk's office, we've been receiving many requests for the parks, including Paper Mill Island. So let the summer begin.
There you go.
And that's about it.
Okay, Mo, thank you. Treasurer, Anna.
Yes, everyone should have received the Canton Woods annual analysis for 2020. Ruth may be commenting on this. I'm not sure. She had a meeting, I believe, with her board. I'm not sure. I have heard no comments. I don't know if any of you have any questions, but they did come out in the black this year with a reserve of $3,387.56, basically due to COVID because the center was not operating at full capacity. But so I'm just anxious to see if we're going to hear any comments on that. And Ruth may have something to say on that. The other thing is, besides closing out the year, which I'm just about there, you'll get some reports very soon. I also am working on the Lysander Water District, the special escrow account that we have. This is actually our 4th year already.
Wow.
So I will be getting the report out to everyone, making the deposit of the funds and sending a copy of the report also to Lysander. And I guess that's it for now, unless someone has some questions.
So
After 5 years, that becomes water department funds, right? Thank you.
Yes.
And it's nice to know that there was some good that came out of the COVID, that the Canton Woods ended up in the black.
And we still do have that reserve account that we used to have. I've never closed it out. It's still attached to one of our other accounts. So we can still, put that money in that reserve account. It will still show on the budget report, just the way hopefully that Van Buren wants it to. And then when they, need money next year, we'll have that to use, but we haven't had a reserve in, as Ruth knows, in a long time. So it'll be good, I think.
Very good. Thanks, Anna.
Yep.
Ruth, it's Senior Center.
Okay, just to quickly go to the same topic that Anna just spoke on. I did share the information this morning with our board, revenues and expenses, and the fact that we were 3,387.56 to the positive. They didn't get paper copy. I was going to send that out tomorrow. I wanted this board to be presented that information first. So they do know that we were to the black, which is good. For 2019, just for perspective, we had a $10,000 shortfall that the 501c3 made up. So that gives you a little idea where we usually are. So that was good news. So they will get that email to them tomorrow. So that is good news. So also this June 1st, following the holiday, we did begin to do more programming. It's been going very well. We are asking to see people's proof of vaccination if they're vaccinated and following protocols based on that. It's going very well, very smoothly. People are very cooperative, no problem with that. So please go to the Village of Baldwinsville website or the other municipal websites where the newsletter should be posted so you know what's going on in June. And with this board's support, and if you're comfortable, we would like to continue to do more and expand again in July. So if June goes smoothly, we would like to continue to on that positive trend of trying to bring folks back in more. Other than that, with opening up more and doing more, we need to let the non-residents know that we will be charging the non-resident user fee, which has been in place since 2012, and that remains at the $25 rate, but you will be asked to pay that. And also, I have spoken with Chuck, and he and I will set up a schedule to do the walkthrough or walk around. Every couple of years, we do a walk around with the municipalities and a couple other representatives from the Canton Woods Board to look at the facilities, the grounds, et cetera, and identify and create a plan and a list of needs. So that will be happening probably end of this month or early July. And that's it, unless anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Very good. I'm sure people are happy to be back doing more things.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great to have the folks there, and we're hoping as long as we stay positive and things are going well, we'll continue to just get back to what seems like more normal for us.
It's a long haul for some of those seniors. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ruth. We'll move on to Public Works. Chuck.
Okay, we've, biggest thing we got is paving. The paving the last few days has been crazy. We're doing Tappan and Downer Street. Between the paving and the grinding, and it's just been a traffic nightmare over there, but hopefully, 3-4 days, we're going to be done. Tomorrow, we're going through Downer Street. We're going to start at 7 in the morning. And Downer is tough, mainly because of Conifer. Conifer only has one entrance there, and we really want to make sure everybody's accommodated over there. We've been in contact with them. We've talked to the police, the fire, the ambulance, everybody. So if we got to get you in there, we will, but if you can bear with us for the day, we'll get that road done and be out of there. And everybody's been really great, from the school district to everybody that, even all the way down to the state. We took the state lights out with the sensors, and they were right there to put them back in again. And everybody's been really great. And it's very difficult to get around those two streets, even when one's closed. And hopefully the worst will be done tomorrow. We got the docks in. We got the kayak docks at Mercer Park and the boaters docks over on the upper end or next to the island. We got those in. We did not get the kayak docks in Community Park yet. We've got some maintenance to do on those. Hopefully we'll get to those next week. The flowers, benches, all the garbage cans, they've all been put out. We worked with the American Legion with getting the flags hung up. You touched about the carp tournament. The carp people are fantastic. All I can do is I compare them to the Rotary. When the Rotary comes in town, the place is cleaner when they leave than when they get here. And the carp tournament people were great. They asked what they could do, what they couldn't do. They cleaned themselves. They cleaned everything up for there, and it went really well. Water meters, we're trying to get back into homes to get back doing water meters again, and it's been a challenge. And I've talked to some other water departments, and it's been a challenge with them too, because people just aren't real comfortable with us coming back into the homes again. But we need to. It doesn't take long for us to get in and change your meter out, and we want to get back in and get this meter program started again. So other than that, unless there's questions, I'm almost at.
Busy, always busy over there.
Yep, there's always something going on.
Yeah, well, it'll be nice when that stuff gets finished. I mean, people grumble, but it's only going to be like a week, and then all of a sudden they're going to have beautiful new streets to drive on, and it'll be worth it. Same
and
thing.
We ground at the same time, and then we got some extra money from the state, and then we did a couple extra roads all over there, and it's a lot of work for a little area, but everybody's been great, and once we get through it, like you said, everybody will like it.
Yeah, it's always the same with the sidewalks. When we're putting sidewalks in, people grumble, And afterwards, they talk about how they never thought they would like them as much as they do. So appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you. We'll move on now to Police Chief. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a topic that you and I had discussed earlier this week when we were meeting, and that's of various scams that are out there. You were talking about one of the officers had informed you of a victim that had come forward with us that had lost a decent amount of money, and unfortunately, in our conversation, I relayed to you that that's something that we get reports on a fairly regular basis. And I would just ask that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And for our residents, just to be vigilant with those types of things. And especially our residents that might have family members that are more of advanced age and are maybe a little bit more vulnerable possibly to those types of scams that go on. I remember even a couple of years ago where my father called me saying that, geez, somebody in the, my late brother's son was in jail and we had to send money down to where they lived in a different state. And I immediately started saying, this is a scam. And my father kept talking and I kept saying, this is a scam. This is a scam. Don't call them back. Don't give them any money. Don't do anything. And I've talked to other residents who have called me that have known me and the same type of thing. So that type of stuff is out there, and it's a good thing to have a conversation with our loved ones about those types of things to be concerned about that, because as I told the mayor, we've had victims that have lost tens of thousands of dollars on various types of scams that are out there. And unfortunately, for the most part, once that money is gone, it's very, very, very difficult for these cases to be prosecuted, because oftentimes the perpetrators are either out of state or more than likely out of the country. So tracking them down becomes next to impossible. So that's just something I'd like to kind of raise awareness on, and for people to be a little bit more vigilant on there.
Very good.
Chief, is there anything that people can or should do if they suspect a scam, getting the phone number or whatever off caller ID and reporting it? Or
well, I mean, we're all going to get those calls on a regular basis, and unfortunately, the caller IDs. The mayor and I were talking about that as well, where you're getting phone calls from your own number, or right, from a local number from Baldwinsville or Cicero or Camillus, where you look at the number and you say, oh, it's a 464 number. It's okay. That's Syracuse. Maybe I should pick this up. And, it's another call about your car warranty or something else. So the numbers don't do a lot, but obviously regular checks of your credit to ensure that, something untoward hasn't occurred. And obviously the federal government and there's various websites out there to provide people with information if they have been scammed or suspect a scam, and what to do to protect your credit and protect your assets.
Now, the one that Mike was talking about the other night, when our officer it just stopped. He saw me out in the yard and stopped to say hi and mentioned the scam. And he said, tell the lady she's being told that she didn't pay a bill from the bank has said you didn't pay a bill. So you need to send us a check immediately. And his suggestion, which makes good sense, is call the bank and say, you sure? And the bank would have said, we don't have any problem with you not paying a bill. It says here you paid. So, most of the companies that have, if you have a problem with a payment that didn't get made and stuff, they don't call you on the phone. You'll get an official letter because it has a date on it so that they can say you've got 10 days from this date to respond. So if somebody calls you and says, this is your credit card company and you owe $2,400 or we'll take you to jail, look up your credit card company and call them up. And they will reassure you that you are not in trouble. And as Mike said, they had a big presentation at Canton Woods not too long ago. John Katko and a couple of high-level security type people talking about all the different things you could do to protect yourself. And the first thing is, don't immediately write a check to somebody. Take time. If you have a kid, call up your kid and say, is it possible that, you know, my car insurance is overdue $2,000? And they're going to say, no, it's not. You don't even pay $2,000 for the whole year. So why would it be overdue that much? Don't pay it. And I understand older people get scared. You know, they have a lot of time to think, and those things go through their heads kind of crazy. And I'm glad Mike brought it up, because anytime we can remind people to be careful, be wary, and call somebody you trust. You know, I suggest they call the police chief, but I'm sure Mike doesn't want to field everybody's calls on their financial problems. But, you know, I just hope people are careful. It's a shame when you're older and people take advantage of you. Anything else, Mike?
No, and you could just recommend that they call the police department, because more than likely they're not going to talk to me. I'll give it to one of our capable officers to talk to them.
There you
So
go.
they can call the department itself.
There you go. Okay, that's what we'll do. Call the police department. Or, you know, call the troopers, call the sheriffs, call in somebody that of authority, and they'll help you. Move on to pending business. Have not heard anything new on WEP. I did get a phone call from Shannon Hardy about 2 weeks ago saying that the two towns were ready to sign off, and that there are some payments that the two towns make to the village for sewer use. And so I asked Mo, and she mentioned River Mall, I believe. They write a check every year to pay to access to our sewer to get to this other sewers. And I can't remember what Lysanders was, but it was kind of small. And so I'm going to check with them and see if there's anything other than that anybody's aware of. This was
Aspen Springs.
right, Aspen Springs. It was on the Lysander side. So I'll check with the two, Lysander and Van Buren, and find out if there's anything else that they're concerned about, and then I can let WEP know about that. She didn't have any comment about our situation. She understood what we were doing, and the legislation that was pending and that type of stuff. So that's where we stand with WEP. Item B, crosswalk status. Chief Leffencheck, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. I have spoken with the DOT rep. It took a little bit of time to get in touch with her. She was a very nice conversation, and she explained that they're in the third year of a 3-year project to install those crosswalk indicators that I described at our last board meeting. I forwarded to her 3 locations in the village that I felt were unique and problematic, where that type of signage and LED display would be beneficial. That being at Syracuse and Marble Street, Genesee Street, Virginia Street by the library, and then Oswego and Brown Street. And I copied, obviously, you on that email as well, so you saw it. I think it did a good job of outlining the particular issues at each one of those locales, and to so quote unquote make our case. She'll review that, she and her team, and at some point we'll hear back, and I will follow up with them. In the meantime, I have sent both you and our superintendent DPW, Chuck McCall, a listing of things that I think we could do immediately to help pedestrians in each of those areas. The 3 state routes, to put a center crosswalk sign there would be beneficial. And then there was another area in the village that was problematic that we've had issues at, and that's on East Oneida Street near the Word of Life Church, the old smokers path where the kids cross for school regularly. And I think we could put a center sign there as well, along with some better signage on each side of the roadway to direct drivers that crosswalk is coming up. I think each of those things will assist us in some pedestrian safety right off the bat, while we await the DOT's review and answer as to whether we might be able to be put on the list for those LED type notification signals that Mayor, you even sent me a picture of earlier today. So that's where we are right now. And I don't know what the timeline on that would be from the DPW side of the house to install those center notification signs in the center of the roadway there. I did talk to her about those, and since it's a state route, but she said that we do have the authority to put those there. It's not a problem as long as they're removed, obviously late in the fall before the snow starts. So I don't know if Chuck's got an update on what the ETA on those installations might be.
We got, the ones we had in last year are up, the ones by the library and the one by the island.
Great.
The other two spots, I wasn't sure we needed to put them in there. If that's a program, we'll see if we can find another pair and we'll get those up too. If the
Great.
village wants to put those other two up, we can.
Sounds good. Yeah, well, why don't you and I talk early next week, Chuck, and we can go to those locations and take a look together then. That'll
Okay,
be good.
no problem.
Excellent.
Very good. It just was interesting that I got an email. I ended up forwarding stuff to Mike, but an old friend had seen the story in the messenger and said, "Gee, my daughter lives in Vermont, and I think they have those kind of flashing lights where she lives." And so he asked her to go take a picture of them. And I couldn't really picture what they look like. And so she actually showed just like these strips that they attach to the pole, and that's where I guess the flashing lights are. And so it's kind of nice that a citizen wanted to get involved. He didn't know that you had as much information, I guess, as you did. And so he thought he would help us out. And I thought it's always nice to hear from old friends that are concerned about our concerns. So
Sure.
I'm happy we're making some progress, and I'm sure the Bakers will be excited to hear that we're gaining ground. And I know that the money that's supposed to be coming from the federal government, the stimulus package where we get some money, that can be used for infrastructure. So if we need to use money from that to pay for any of this stuff, we would have some of that available. That would be a good use for some of that money.
The one thing I would caution on that, Mayor, is if in speaking with the DOT rep, these are expensive. These units, number one, and number two, apparently they're expensive to maintain. So if the state evaluates them and determines that we should get them, I would strongly recommend that we have the state install them, and then they have to maintain and deal with them, not us. The only location that we've identified that's not on a state route is on East Oneida Street there, where the school kids cross. We really think that would be beneficial to us, but we might be able to piggyback off of a state contract or something that they've got on those. So once I get some more feedback from the DOT, again, we're dealing with the state. Nothing's quick, but once I have some more feedback from them and some more idea of where we're going, I can report back to you as to whether or not that's going to need to be an option for us. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Sounds good.
Great.
Thanks, Chief.
Sure thing.
Anybody got any questions for Chief on that subject? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Can I get a motion to accept the resignation of Nicole Schlater as a planning board member for the village of Baldwinsville effective immediately? Got Andy and Megan. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item B, can I get a motion to accept the resignation of Mark Jenkins as the planning board alternate for the village of Baldwinsville effective immediately?
Moved.
Megan and Andy? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item C, can I get a motion to appoint Nicole Schlater to the planning board alternate position and to appoint Mark Jenkins to a planning board member position for the village of Baldwinsville effective immediately? Megan? Ruth? So it's basically they're swapping positions. Nicole's very busy and feels she can't give the full-time to the planning board position, but she doesn't want to completely distance herself. And Mark Jenkins is very excited to step up to that level. So we aren't losing anybody. We're just putting them in different chairs. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item becomes item D now. Can I get a discussion, a possible action regarding the addition of the following to the employee handbook, section 718? Benefits for superintendent of public works, labor crew leader, and water maintenance crew leader. Statement: the superintendent of public works, labor crew leader, and water maintenance crew leader have and will continue to receive no less than the same terms and conditions of employment related to health and life insurance contributions, holidays, stipends, longevity pay, retirement benefits, vacation, sick leave, personal leave, and increases in compensation to the extent that they are provided for employees who are members of the PAC-B Local 2970. Got Andy with a motion. The second. Megan? Any discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, so then item E becomes, can I get a motion to appoint Dan Weir as labor crew leader with the Department of Public Works at a rate of $30.53 an hour, effective immediately with retro payback to May 7th, 2021.
Moved.
Megan and Mark, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And then item F, can I get a motion to appoint Corey Perkins as water maintenance crew leader with the Department of Public Works at a rate of $30.53 an hour, effective immediately with retro pay back to May 7th, 2021. Mark and Megan, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Just for people's knowledge, the retro date is the date that Chuck took over as superintendent, and therefore their roles as supervisors became more prominent. And so we're rewarding them back to that date. Okay, let's go on to the next page. Okay, we got 2 executive sessions scheduled. Anybody have anything to discuss?
Yes, you added the PERMA approval was going to be the next item.
Yes, it is. Let me see if I can get that so I can. All right, this would be item G. And we have discussion, possible action to approve the 2-year deal for the village's worker comp carrier PERMA at a premium of $71,793 for the 2021-2022 year, and a discounted premium of either $69,769 or $75,349 for the 2022-2023 year, depending on the village's loss ratio. Can I get a motion and a second for discussion?
Move.
Andy and Megan, okay. Without approving this tonight, the rate for the 2021-2022 year would be $75,188, which is just under $4,000 more than it will be if we approve it tonight. So we will be saving money. It's a permit to this. I think this past year we also signed up early for renewal and we got a discount, and now we're getting another discount, and it will apply even better for next year if we keep people healthy and they don't get hurt. So, Mo and I discussed this. It's a good plan for us to save some money.
It's been a great company to deal with. They're just a phone call away and everything. A lot of things are online. They check in with us when someone is on workers' comp. It's really been going great. So I definitely recommend that we keep with them anyway.
Yeah, we deal with a guy named Hank Chapman, and he's a great guy. He promised that they would be on top of everything, and they are. Great to work with them. And so I feel good about this discount, and I feel good about the fact that we switched to PERMA a couple years ago, and it's been what we thought it would be. Any other questions, discussion?
Mayor, I just add on top of what Mo had to say, from the police side of the house, we've received 2 or 3 grants from PERMA for things that we've done. Also during COVID, they had supplies that we were able to purchase at a 50% reimbursement by them, that they subsidized 50% of the cost of personal protective equipment. So there's been a lot of things that PERMA has done that we at the police department have taken advantage of. So from our side of the house, they've been outstanding partners.
Great. That's nice to hear. You make moves sometimes, and you kind of cross your fingers and hope that things are going to work out for the better. And this one apparently has worked out great. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, Mo, have I got anything else? Or are we ready to go to executive session before I commit to it?
I believe so.
All right, so we got H and I, G was PERMA. Anything we need to bring up before we go to executive session? Is there any other business that we haven't discussed or anybody has a question about? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session? Or two of them, one's a contract update, the other's a personnel issue.
Move.
Ruth Seco, Mike Shepherd, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. See you in 2 weeks. I don't anticipate any action on either of these tonight, so